New Thought Media Network proudly presents Having Courageous Conversations, where real talk dives deep. Each week we go beyond surface talk. We open our hearts, speak our truths, and dive into the stories that shape us. No scripts, no filters, just powerful, unforgettable conversations about life, purpose, healing, and truth. Join the conversation, because your voice belongs here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel at Having Courageous Conversations or email us at yourshowyourvoice@gmail.com. Now, let's have a courageous conversation.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. Welcome to Having Courageous Conversations, where it is our intention to have difficult topics or interesting topics for you to be able to be curious about and listen to. That is our intention. We're just talking about curiosity, and I think that curiosity opens us to many topics that we may not be comfortable talking to. Rather be curious than judgmental. So my name is Cheryl Rogers, and it is my joy and pleasure to be here with you today with my co-host Mark Dupuis, and we have a very special guest returning to the show, Reverend Dr. Martha Creek, and I'm going to invite Mark to introduce Martha.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And it was my pleasure that we were having a bit of dialogue before the show. Some interesting things came up. Anyway, widely known in New Thought, Martha's trainings approach deep inner work as an adventure with a sense of curiosity, there's that word, and wonder. A master of the art of right questioning, she calls forth the most stubborn and self-defeating patterns to create a new way of being, literally. Martha has a list of her credentials on her website, and I know that Deja will be happy to put the website on the screen for us later. Welcome, Martha, and I'm going to start the questioning at the beginning, similar to what we ask at the end. Why are you here today? What do you want us to take away with you today?
Well, that's one of my favorite questions. So first of all, thank you for having me. It's my joy, and it's the highest privilege I have to be a part of things like this. And the answer to the question is 3 answers. And one is the answer I give every time I'm asked, which I am here to serve those who serve. This is my mission in life, to be of service to those who are serving, and to be a part of resilience building and grit and determination and healing across all faculties. The second one is to get empowered teachings to the whole of the world. That this is made possible through your generosity and grace, your devotion and sincere spiritual practice, and inviting me to join, that this can live long past any of us. And something that can be offered here today or said here today reaches places none of us will ever reach physically, that we have gotten empowered teachings out to the whole of the world. And I want people to leave here with a practical, something they can apply and embody in their own life. And I want them to listen with their own sense of curiosity, to have their own agency and authority for themselves, that I'm not here to be a teller of them of what to do, but to an encourager of them to look at what they're doing, what the consequences of that may be, and what's another possibility for them.
Mm-hmm. Wow, what a wonderful way to answer. And those, I mean, that is your mission, really, your mission statements. And they're so beautiful, Martha. And I know that certainly I have experienced, this. I've experienced your teachings, your questioning, being in groups that you facilitate. And I know that every one of us that's there love and appreciate you for who you are and what you do. So we are so grateful. So I'm going to ask you today about life gives us flowers and fertilizer. What made you think of that, and what does that mean to you?
Well, the basis for my existence and some of the most profound breakthroughs I've had in my own life is my awakening to that it's both and. And this paradigm that we set up innocently as children with good and bad, good and evil, light and dark, up, down, whatever, everything's in contrast. And we have built a great deal of allergy around anything we don't want or don't like. And we also have addictions, I believe. I do. Preferences, at least. I hope I've upgraded my addictions to preferences. That the preferences for things to go a certain way. And that in this life, in the world, in reality, in life on its terms, it's not one or the other. Mm-hmm. It is both. And the power of the both and changed everything for me. The day that I started awakening to and leaning into and accepting and integrating the both and, alpha and omega, everything in between, drought and flood. They like me, they don't. They respect me, they don't. They included me, they don't. And it's been painful at times. This has not been free of suffering. Mm-hmm. And I've had to use little bridges across some of this transformational work that includes some time. So even in your kind and gracious reply about me, Cheryl, you said everybody in the room loves Martha, everybody in her groups, and it's like there's nothing true about that, honey. So there's sometimes people in the group love me, sometimes I'm their tormentor.
Oh, that's true.
They feel mentored by me and they feel tormented by me, and they'll be close to me and they'll feel distance from me, and they'll appreciate what I'm saying, and then they'll think it's absolute BS. So that part of this integration is accepting the terms of that, so that I don't get any more addicted to being liked or loved or being held in high regard at times, and that I don't have allergy toward and offense taken when somebody says you're not my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. Or I don't even want you in my room. I don't want to be a part of your groups. It's like, well, of course, we don't have resonance. We're not in alignment with our philosophies or beliefs. And I don't want my peace hinging on that. I want to be able to do what I'm here to do and to carry on with my own devotional call and my own spiritual practice, regardless of what thoughts and feelings and beliefs that other people have about me. Mm-hmm. And your context of fertilizer and flowers, it's like we want the flowers, we want the blooms, we want the fruits, we want the tomatoes, we want the green beans, but most of us don't want to get out there and dig that soil up and get those rocks out of there and have to wait on it to grow either. Mm-hmm. And then we're mad if it doesn't bear fruit. Or if it doesn't bear fruit in our timing, and mm-hmm. There's not going to be fruit without some work that I know of, and there's some fertilizer along the way, honey. Something that's going to not be pleasant for us at times. It's absolutely included.
That's beautiful, and what I love about what you've just said, I was going to ask you what spiritual maturity looks like, and I think that's what it looks like. Because what I'm hearing you say as well is by coming to that understanding for you, you're no longer reactive, because it's an acceptance that, yes, it's both and some will and some won't. And we have a shadow self and we have a light self and all that. So that's a very healthy way to live. And I think I know for me, that's what I am aspiring to do. And I can talk about being tormented by you too.
Well, I would understand it, honey. Like it's not a question of if, it's just a matter of when, or
Mhm,
what our triggers are, or what our nerve endings are where
mhm,
somebody kind of stepped on it.
mhm,
It's also an indicator of I'm still not immune from this, honey. And Marg and I were talking before the show that I'm on my own path here. I still have
mhm,
reactions. I'm not proud of some things I do and think, and the things that arise up in me that are not healed yet in me throughout the day in various situations.
mhm,
And you're right, my reaction is far less than it used to
mhm,
be because of these practices.
mhm,
And when I've kind of hi ho, off to hell I go, I don't stay as long
mhm,
and I don't go as deeply into it. So my journey to hell and back is a quicker journey than it has been over the years, where I may be really stuck in something or dwelling or ruminating in something, and
mhm,
not only ruminating but fermenting in it at times, and
mhm,
I'm not as apt to do that. And my ability to see, like, even I did a sermon at the Unity Village Chapel on Sunday, and it's like my takeaway, Mark, I think if I'd answered the question that day, what I said is real transformation occurs when I stop negotiating with what I know to be so, what I know to be true. And this negotiating includes wanting, needing, shoulding, and shouldn't, and that. And I'm not as apt to do that anymore. So I've literally eliminated the word should from my vocabulary
mhm,
because I'm
Mm.
aware that
Mhm.
any should opposes reality. So I don't speak it. And
mhm,
even if it comes out, I pause and take a redo and I just change it. Like if I say, well, my God, well, traffic should be flowing. It's not even rush hour. Traffic should be flowing.
mhm,
And it's like, well, no, traffic isn't flowing.
mhm.
So the should comes off. It's like meet reality on reality's terms. You don't have to like it a bit. And or I don't want my peace hinging on it. And
Mhm.
regarding the fertilizer and flowers, it's like it flows, it doesn't. It's open, it's not. And we had our own little dose of it today when the very same platform, the very same computers, the very same system, everything that works perfectly every Wednesday or every Thursday or this time of the day. And then all of a sudden, nope.
Yeah,
And it's like, okay, here's our assignment today.
yeah,
And to stay as present as we can and sort it out and look for a solution and try something else and innovate, and bam, here we are.
yeah.
And it's not free of some angst.
So true.
Throughout this conversation, a little bit before, I think you and Cheryl were talking, and I was thinking about when we were at the Unity Canada conference and your experience with iced tea, not iced tea. What you were given was not the iced tea that you were expecting to receive. Do you want to use that as an example?
I'd love to, because it's really it's these things are so accurate and they're so meaningful as far as breaking through some of this, that our mind works in images. So it never occurred to me that iced tea is for me is normal as can be. I mean, raised on it. I mean, where I've lived most of my life, there's iced tea around. And when I was there visiting you in the way up in the north of British Columbia at that time, I asked for iced tea and they had no reference for it. Like, what'd you say? Iced tea. Like, why would you put ice in your tea? Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I prefer it cold. And then he couldn't take it in. He just couldn't take it in. Like, it's the most bizarre thing he had ever heard of at that time. So then he went away and came back with the same cup of tea that was still steaming. And I said, can you put some ice in the tea? And he said, I put ice in the tea. And I said, could you add some more ice to the tea? And he said, I've already put 3 cubes in there. So it went and went. And I said, could you bring me the tallest glass of ice you have in the store? could you bring me a tall glass of ice in the store? And he said, we don't even have that much ice in this store. So it went and went, honey. And the good news about all of that is I wasn't undone by it. It was okay with me. I understood it. It was a different custom. It was a different context. And he absolutely meant no ill will. He meant it was not anything that was opposing me. It was simply trying to speak a language that somebody else didn't speak. And then eventually I surrendered and took my iced tea that was still steaming and off I went, because I prefer peace.
And look at the stories that it's created.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that he went home that night and he had his own story about it. This crazy lady.
Absolutely. And probably I'll usually laugh, like there's somewhere around the world he's telling this same story again. Like some crazy Southern woman came into my restaurant wanting iced tea once. There's another iced tea story that's funny because I had not traveled much back then. So this has probably been 40 years or so now. And I was in New Jersey and out to lunch with a group of colleagues, people that were these executives in this company I was in. And I asked for iced tea for lunch. And they brought a big glass of tea and put it down. And I took it up and took a big drink of it and was like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, I think the drinks got mixed up. I've got somebody else's drink here. This isn't my drink. So I called her over and I said, I've got a little mix up. You know, I asked for iced tea. She said, well, that's what you have. And I said, no, it's not what I've got. I said, this has alcohol in it. And she said, well, that's what iced tea is. And I said, no.
Long Island.
And that's the only iced tea she had any reference for was Long Island iced tea, which has probably 5 shots of alcohol in it.
Yeah.
So I asked for iced tea. She brought me exactly what she was sure I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we going to do when it doesn't go our way? Which is the question of the day.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? How am I going to be when it doesn't go my way? And we've got plenty of practice, plenty of curriculum here, because it's not a matter of time. Even just this morning, in case you hear this in your show, I'll tell you, I don't hear anything in this house hardly at all. It's the quietest house ever. It's one of my favorite things about it. And I was up later than I've been in a long time, like 2 o'clock in the morning. And about 7 o'clock, they started jackhammering out a driveway right here. That sounded like they were tearing the house down. And just as our show started, after we sorted through our fertilizer, a big old cement truck as big as a house showed up and started pouring cement over there. Now, life on life's terms, ladies, gentlemen, whoever's listening.
Yes, I love that. Life on life's
How would you
terms.
take affirmations? Like something in your life is not how you want it. And so Unity is very big on affirmations, and I have my own interpretation there. But so where does Martha take?
Well, I'm open to hear yours, and I've taken some heat over this over the years, and I don't mind. Just so you know, I don't mind. I don't mind today. That affirmations are typically us attempting to believe what we don't believe. So I affirm all is well, all is well, all is well. And while deep down in my guts and in my underworld, I'm afraid something bad will happen. I'm ready for the other shoe to drop. So affirmations are attempts to get us to undo some of the beliefs we're holding and to believe something different than what we've been believing. And I'm all for them. Whatever works for you, I'm all for you. Whatever works, use it. Please hear this. If they work for you, use them. For me, it was a spiritual bypass in most cases, because I would affirm I'm whole and perfect and complete. I'm a whole and perfect divine expression of the highest order. And deep down, I could be thinking, what is wrong with me?
Mhm.
or I'm inadequate, or I'm incompetent, or I'm too much, or something
Mhm.
like that. So
Mhm.
it kept me from going into what I actually believe and questioning what I actually believe, so the belief could let go of me,
Mhm.
instead of me trying to paint over the belief or choose the
That's
belief in some way. That once I question the belief and use inquiry and reflection and contemplation, the belief doesn't have the same hooks in me.
Mhm. Yeah, that's very thought provoking. Because I do agree that just saying something over and over again won't change anything. For me, it's the feeling that we put into it. That's just for me. So if I'm affirming something, I want to feel what I am affirming, so that it's uh, just a moment of reality. And so that's sort of the way I do it, because it just didn't make sense to me, just saying something over and over again, like you say, and not believing it with the thought behind the belief. So even doing it and feeling it, sometimes I can only feel it for 30 seconds, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Then I let it go. But yeah, I really appreciate your honesty about that. Thank you. Mhm.
Mhm.
Do you want
So,
to
Mark,
speak to it? Do you want to speak to it, Mark? What's your take on affirmation?
Well, there's, the BS word or two words. I just think that it's, especially in unity, for me, it's overused. It's like, the bypass. It's not, I don't know. I just think I'm affirming that I'm going to be on a safe flight. And okay, so this flight is smooth, another flight is not smooth. Like, what did the affirming do? Okay, so you didn't affirm hard enough or believe or whatever. And I think my world is colored by hearing the word affirmations, because I've heard it used in a way that I cannot believe. I've heard just the other day somebody that has just gone into affirmations and prayer about finances. It was said that, oh, you're doing unity the right way. So because they're receiving the abundance now, and but what if that wasn't happening? Then are you doing it the wrong way? Like,
mhm.
Mm, I have an allergy to it, and maybe I should be curious about that.
Well, you can, honey, and because the question is, when it looks like we have the power, so we can say, I affirm a smooth flight, no turbulence. And it's
Mm,
like it turns out that way. And it's like, oh, look what I did. Then it's
mhm,
like, well, the next time I affirm a smooth ride, no turbulence, and it's turbulent. Or I've got to divert and land in another city I didn't plan to. So it's like, if you're going to take responsibility for that, then you're going to take the blame for it when it
mm,
doesn't go that way too. So
mhm,
it's a setup. It's a setup of
mhm,
sabotage versus
mhm,
life. It's going to be both and. There'll be smooth flights and not smooth flights. And
mhm,
that's reality based. There'll be droughts and floods, and there'll be hurricanes and tornadoes. And I mean,
mhm,
war since the beginning of time, since the beginning of creation, there's been war. And we still affirm, there shouldn't be war. There shouldn't be war. There shouldn't be war. And there is war.
yeah.
And then the more I say there shouldn't be war while war is going on, I create more war in the world through
Mm,
my own violent thoughts and through my own
mhm,
opposing what's
yeah,
happening
yeah.
versus what can I do today to end war, the only place I can end it.
Mm,
And that's a full-time job.
yeah, yeah, beautiful.
I, I like the way you explained that, Martha, because you brought it to your personal self. So you are not going to the soldier and stopping them from shooting. You are the internal war that you have inside. This is my interpretation. The internal war that you have inside saying this shouldn't be happening, you're stopping that. And therefore, there's a peace around.
By aligning with reality as it is.
Mm.
And I don't have to like it. I don't have to love it. I do not vote for it. I would take, if I had power to exercise, to make change and make difference, I use that and then surrender to that I cannot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So literally changing what can be changed,
Mm-hmm.
accepting what I cannot change, what I cannot control, which is only everything eventually, only 100% of the time, eventually.
Mm.
But part of our safety, the ego, I try not to use that word. It's so misunderstood, I think. The fear mind is seeking to feel safe, empowered, and valued, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that threatens it becomes an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of like, it's all included. I don't have to like it or love it. And my integrative living, my spiritual maturity, emotional maturity, whatever you want to call it, requires me to include it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this too. Traffic didn't flow. Yes, this too. Here comes the diagnosis. Yes, this too.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's like, instead of what am I going to do, becomes what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do in this situation? What would be sane, sensible action in the face of what is?
Yeah. Yeah. Being real, being a realist. My family used to often call me say I was idealistic. And I used to say, I'm not idealistic. I'm a realist. I'm realistic. So I just want to invite anybody who's online, if you'd like to ask any questions of Martha, please feel free to put that in the comments and let us know how you feel about affirmations as well. I'm loving this conversation, and we are almost halfway there. And yeah, it goes too quickly. I think, Martha, when you come on, we need to make it longer. But in the meanwhile, let us just take a couple of minutes break, and we will be right back. So don't go away. See you in a couple.
Having Courageous Conversations is proudly sponsored by Unity Kitchener. We are a welcoming spiritual community where open dialogue, personal growth, and authentic connection are encouraged. Join us Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern for inspiration, reflection, and meaningful conversation. Learn more at unitykitchener.org. Unity Kitchener, a positive path for spiritual living.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought, Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
So welcome back, everyone. We're here with Reverend Dr. Martha Creek, and we're having such a wonderful conversation. I love the analogies that you use, Martha, and I love how you really, you've really thought it through and are realistic about things. It's both and I think we live in a world of what I say duality. So it is both and in everything around us, right? So I really like that. So for somebody who doesn't know what spiritual bypassing is, can you explain that?
Well, I don't know, honey. I can lay it out in terms of how I've integrated it myself, and it may or may not work for some.
Okay.
But for me, first of all, I don't think or have experienced or witnessed spiritual maturity without emotional maturity.
Mm-hmm.
So in the context earlier in the show, we spoke about affirming something versus actually doing the work to integrate those aspects of ourselves and denying that we have a dark side, that we have frustrations, irritations, upsets, blame, shame, guilt, remorse, fault finding, nitpicking, stockpiling, scapegoating, all of this. To deny that is to bypass reality, which cannot be done. Reality rules.
Mm-hmm.
So to pretend that that's not there through denial, suppression, depression, disowning it, affirming attempts to affirm it away. And I've said when I referred to earlier that I've taken some heat about this, like your affirmations are actually informing you about what you actually believe, not what you don't believe. So the more you affirm, the more you're in some way denying that you don't believe what the very thing that you're affirming. The fact that you're still affirming it is a sign that you don't actually believe what you're affirming it, that you actually don't believe it. Yeah. So we bypass, because we've set up a paradigm innocently. The mind set up an innocent paradigm of good and bad, and positive and negative, which us high righteous spiritual types will say, oh no, I don't believe in good and bad or good and evil. It's like, yes, we do. We call it positive and negative. That's a negative thought. Don't have a negative thought. Versus I'm not the thinker. Of course, that thought would arise. It's not a question of when. It's just a matter of, not a matter of if, just a matter of when is the thought going to arise. And to allow it to accept that this is a part of our humanness, that this is a part of a patterned, biologically wired human part of us, that I'm going to have those thoughts at times. And there's power in determining and discerning how much I'm going to dwell on it. If I can say I can't dwell there, I'm going to have to question that, or see if I can bring some healing to that, so that thought or that belief or that paradigm doesn't run my show. And it won't happen that I know of by magic, that we don't wave a magic wand and go, oh, suddenly I'm just going to be free of this. And bypassing, denying that it's there, has kept us concreted over in it. Yeah. And psychologists and family systems theorists, and not theorists, practitioners from 50 years ago predicted the regression in the human evolution, regression in the human psyche, based on some of this, that our inability to look, see, and tell the truth about what's happening and what wholeness actually is all of it, not just a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's too very, very scary, and it's painful. And when we get into these big feelings and start to open Pandora's box and start to relive some of that, some part of the mind, a protector part of the mind will come in like, shut that down right now, look away, don't go there, do not go there. Like, don't look behind the curtain, because you're going to see, it's not the Wizard of Oz, you're going to see a man pulling a bunch of ropes back there. And instead of everything it's trying to get me not to do is an indicator of what's left for me to actually go toward.
Right.
So it's the opposite. Spiritual bypassing is turning away from, denying, suppressing, depressing, disowning, pretending, versus going toward, integrating, including, allowing.
Mm-hmm. It's making me think of the fertilizer. That's unfertilized soil. And that's where the fertilizer comes in, going deeper, facing these things, recognizing when I'm asking for something, that's the actual thing that I believe I don't have, I think is what you were saying, which is really very wise and very true. We're trying to convince ourselves that we do have it, or whatever the case may be, right? So I do like that. The other thing I often think about is I do believe that we can have an influence on our own lives, but it's not ours to influence anybody else's. And it's also about perception. So that's a whole nother discussion. But when I think about humanity, and we talk about being one, and we talk about being connected, it's the energy of our humanity that creates the world the way it is today. It's not just one person. Yeah.
And the group says, amen.
Yeah.
And it won't deny, though. I mean, there's a lot of spiritual accountability in that.
Mm-hmm.
That says, if I actually believe that, then I must take some spiritual accountability to what energy I'm conveying,
Yeah.
what attitude I'm holding, to what devotional practice am I required to do today, so that I can contribute to the world more of what I want to see in the world, instead of contribute to the world, the very world I claim I don't want to see anymore.
Yeah.
So, and this, even a notion that may be for another show, honey, but this notion of oneness, it's like they're in the absolute.
Yeah.
Absolutely believe that. A one organism, one humanity, one creator of all that is.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, back here at the ranch,
Yeah.
you have historically different, culturally different, gender non-specific at times, and all matters of things that are different, and not to make our differences cause us to differ so much that we are not willing to relate to each other.
Yeah.
Say that regardless of what differences we have, there's still commonalities that we have too.
Yeah.
And particularly psychological commonalities and emotional commonalities and things like that, that are not as easily seen as the physical commonalities. And that's also where most of the pain is, the stress is, and whatever caused that, whatever caused our psyche to be in the shape it's in, it's not all that pleasant to go in there again. And in some cases, it's like trying to go into a dark black cave with a little pin light to even see what's left in here, and what I can look at today. And the emotions are so intense, it feels like that we could even be annihilated by them.
Yeah.
Like we absolutely can't bear them. So the system could actually shut down. The nervous system can short circuit, just like an electricity outlet could short circuit because of an overflood, an overwhelm of those kinds of emotions. So it's not a party all the time. And I believe it's work. And the Course in Miracles says it like that, like, oh, it's okay. It's not a question of if you'll do this, just when. So I'd say, let's do it consciously then.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of kind of being drugged through it. Yeah,
absolutely. It makes me think about, I think it was Gandhi that said, be the change you want to see in the world. And that's exactly what you're saying. That's the accountability piece.
It is. And that's a great example, Cheryl, of this platitude, though, this platitudinal living. Like, and it goes back to our earlier conversations, like, how are you? Fine. It's like, you're not fine because your face has not caught up to how fine you are. Like you're conveying a different energy. And then yesterday or sometime earlier in the week, they described it as something like something in neurotic, FINE, some other word for it. And it's like, that would be more the truth of that. And most people, when they ask how you are not actually asking how you are.
Mm-hmm.
They're simply trying to put forward an acceptable social norm, an attempt to connect to the human, and not actually there to care for what kind of shape you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few that do genuinely care and wants to know, but it's like that's usually safe for our therapist or our coaches or whoever actually is there to help us unravel what kind of shape we're actually in,
Mm-hmm.
instead of misunderstanding somebody's question about how we are as an opening to lay out how we are.
Yeah.
There's not really an opening for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so interesting.
Just don't ask me, Martha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't ask me how I'm doing right now, because you'll say, "Oh, yeah, fine, tell your face."
You know, we're kind of laughing about it, but I actually stopped asking.
Mm.
I mean, you there may be a random time where you went, "Oh no, Martha, I distinctly remember you asking me how I am," but I don't ask it.
Mm-hmm.
And even when people ask how I am, I answer literally, "I'm glad to be here. I feel present. I'm here to be supportive, a listener." So I go into like something that is grounded, something that's about my physical presence here, not what's going on in my emotional bedrock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And personally, you have asked me how I was, and it was because you were curious, you were being compassionate because you knew of a circumstance. So yes, and that, I believe, is what you're saying is the difference. And so
You apparently received that, though, the way my heart was offering it, Morgan. That's important for our conversation today. Like for me to have offered that I felt a compassion for you. I had a genuine inquiry into how you're doing with what you were navigating. So that was a sincere compassion and extension versus just lip service or something rote about how you are. And you received it in the way that I was holding it in my own heart. So based on what Cheryl said sooner, that was something that got put out in the world that then.
Mm-hmm.
An actual compassionate action, an empathetic response, an empathetic checking in or an inquiry with somebody, not an unconscious, patterned, instinctual, rote something. That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, I understand what you're saying and felt the difference for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this earlier before we came on the show. Do you think you'll ever get to the place where you know it all? Like you have gone through all of the fertilizer and, you'll know you're not going to react in a certain way ever because you figured it out. You've been Martha. You know it.
I don't. The best part of that is I don't mind. And I can tell you that used to be like a cross to bear, so to speak. Not knowing, ain't there yet, got to figure it out, what's left, get, to it. And now it's more like, and a teacher 25 or 30 years ago, I asked her a question and I was so sincere in my inquiry, like, when is it? When is enough enough? How many workshops, how many intensives, how many programs, how many certifications, how many ordinations? And she said, "Oh, honey, see if you've got a pulse when you're wondering. See if you have a pulse, and as long as you have one, that'll be an indicator that it's not finished." And it freed me. Instead of frightening me, it freed me. Like, of course, as long as I'm in the flesh, as long as I'm in this body and it's in this experience, there's something for me to grow from and to learn from and to stay present for, and including our own humanity, honey. Like I don't love when people that I love die. And it's like, who needs God when you've got me? Because I'm like, you could skim off some of these jackasses and take them off of the planet and leave everybody here that's trying to contribute, leave them around because we could use the help. Thank you very much. And it's like, and in that grief and grief that I will have, and I don't think even master teachers are free of that. That most of the sages and seers spoke about dark nights of the soul and real times that they had to stop and question what they were believing or weep or whatever the case may be. So the only people I believe that are non-reactive are dead people. And that's up for inquiry. We don't even know that for sure. But when I used to tease, like when people would go through funerals as a kid, I'd be just fascinated at what people would say at funerals. And they're like, oh, they look so peaceful. They look so peaceful. And I'm like, well, yeah, because this is stopped. Everything that was robbing us of our peace is over. But meanwhile, if we've got a pulse, we've still got some work to do. And I don't mean it like work, like drudgery, like, but no, of course, we're evolving beings. Mm-hmm. We're in a conscious evolution here. So, of course, there's some new idea to have. Of course, I'm going to question what I'm believing. Of course, I'm going to grow through things. And I'm more at peace about it now than I've ever been.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my friend Steve used to say, I don't want another growth opportunity. I just want a good cheeseburger.
I love that. I just wanted the cheeseburger. Oh my gosh. So
I'm going to throw in a bit of humor here because
Okay.
you were talking about funerals. And this has really nothing to do with the show, but it's just a bit of humor that came to me. So the death of my mother year anniversary was on last Friday. And my sister-in-law's mother died on the Monday of the same week. So we were having a gathering on Friday, a virtual gathering, and we were talking about the two of them and where they are now. And they were in the same long-term care facility. And they'd see each other. They would be fighting with each other. And 5 minutes later, they'd see each other. And it's like, oh, you're here too. And so it was hilarious, sad, but hilarious. And so on Friday, when we were meeting and, cheersing my mom, we said the two of them, wherever they are now saying, and you're here too. Your talk of funeral triggered that.
I believe it's part of what eternal life means, that they still come to us through our heartstrings with them, and that those moments like that even as painful as it was, or it may represent a cognitive loss or memory or something like that there was a sweetness in it, and that you're keeping that alive, honey, and caring for that. And I believe that it's medicine for our own souls, and it's medicine for mine today. I can tell you, just hearing it, that that's a very different way of being with what we cannot change. To be to any ability to be a little lighthearted about it, and to just draw on the sweetness of it instead of what's lost or what's awful here, awfulizing it.
Yes. And very much so what you were saying, which you have been saying throughout the whole show, it was both, seeing her in her demented state, and also finding, not laughing at her, but laughing at the situations that occurred that were hilarious. And so yeah, both and.
Yeah, and I'm hearing it's an endearing moment, right? When you speak of it, it's so endearing to remember that and to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I went to visit my friend's mother that was in a memory loss facility, a long-term care, and it was women. So primarily us, the with it, sane, whatever you want to describe, women, and some in a cognitive decline and memory loss. And a man walked into the circle from the facility and unfastened his pants, unbelted his pants, and just dropped them down to his ankles. And the sane, sensible, mature ones were like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oh, my, what are we going to do? This is, And one of the women that's in loss, apparently, or in decline, went, "Man, pull up your pants." And he reached right down and got his pants and pulled them up while everybody else was trying to figure it out. So we have to question who's really here and who's not at times.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Yeah. It makes me think about even people who have challenges being born with Down syndrome or something like that, and they just so beautiful, and they just enjoy life, and you just see, I don't know, I just see the beauty in them and the joy in them and doing things and not questioning too much. And I wonder about that. Who are the happy people here? Right? They are. I would love to live in that world. I mean, it's
I think it's important for us, and I wrote about this in the newsletter. So if you want to put that out here for the show, marthacreek.com. If people want the newsletter, it's free. It comes out once a month. Mm-hmm. And one of the features in that once a month, and I've got to do this for my own sake, and in the context of fertilizer, manure, and flowers, fertilizer and flowers, that it's so important for me not to deny what's going on, not to deny the corruption or the loss or the hate or whatever's going on in the world, not to deny that, and to also balance that out with things like this, these sweet moments like this, and to do some writing about both, which was what was encouraged in the newsletter that came from one of my clergy coaches, that to give the mind some balance. So not to deny that's going on, and then to be sure to keep some focus on these sweet moments like that are going on too. Mm-hmm. And I started listening daily. That became one of my practices. It may have been about a year now that I listen to a story of a hero. I read or listen to everyday heroes, like Buddha at the gas pump type of heroes. And there's even TV programs about it, a little segment, Steve Hartman on the Road or something, where he's out in the world finding these heroes. And that's so important for medicine to my own soul, that even with the destruction and what might be going on, to know that somewhere around the corner, there's somebody uplifting and building life and adding their own sweetness to the sour, so to speak. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's so important. I do that too. Every day I watch something that's fulfilling. I've been watching these eagles in Big Bear Lake, which is in California. And I watch them every day, and I see these little babies grow, and the parents are so amazing. It just warms my heart, and I'm just madly in love with them. Or I'll watch funny something on Facebook, funny thing about cats and dogs, or things like that. Anything that is uplifting and makes me smile or laugh. I think it's important that we find those things, whatever that is, for each person.
That so I had guests here that introduced me to the Shadow and Jackie too, which are the name of the eagle. Yeah. So they're a global phenomena now, apparently. Yeah, they are. And part of that story which is Fertilizer and Flowers, is that there was a couple there, a male and female, and Shadow came in.
I know.
And booted the other male out, so to speak. So it's a split marriage and a split family there, even in the eagle world. And this is an example of this. Like we get so attached to how things are going, and then one of the little egglets didn't hatch. So there was a loss there. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot that's happening in that nest that we can apply to our own families and to our own colleagues and to our own workplaces, and what nature will show us, including their instincts and what they're doing without any human intervention, what they know to do instinctually, and to learn from that, I believe. So that's its own medicine, honey. And one day it may not go as we hoped. And I know that
Jackie laid 3 eggs earlier in the season, and the ravens came and destroyed them. So this is her second batch, which is 2, and they are surviving, but the ravens are pestering them like crazy, and she's really like having to fly and get them away, and it's so stressful. It's like, oh my goodness.
This is an example of it, honey. Our mind has set it up with victim and perpetrator versus this is life doing what life does.
Yeah.
And the raven is as innocent as Shadow and Jackie.
Yeah.
And as instinctual for its own survival to do what it's got to do. And we've set it up as enemy.
Yeah.
And we can't help it because we have a attachment to these cute little furry things. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. I'm not there yet. Right now, I don't like the ravens.
Absolutely. My mother used to say, even we feed the birds, and there would be a bird, a blackbird or mockingbird or blue jay or something she didn't prefer. And she's like, look at them out there. They have no business on the bird feeder.
Yeah,
they're
right.
there to eat like the rest of them are. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's so true.
I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about this show, and we came in with a topic, right? We needed to stay on topic. Flowers and fertilizer. Look at how diverse we were in our conversation. And I believe in every circumstance, we could bring it back to what the topic of the show was. And it just, that's whatever we do in life, like we're all a story. Life is a story. I'm going to say that. And what we did, how we walk through life, we can create the story we want to create.
Yeah.
And there won't be fruit without some dirt.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And some sun and some fertilizer here and there. And some pruning even. Like I remember doing a session on pruning, and that a plant, the very thing that you think would be destructive to it is required for it to actually fruit and grow. And we're not all that, and even in our human nature, we've got to be pruned a few times too, apparently. And it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
There's so many metaphors about those crabs, that have to claw themselves out of those shells just to survive. And even these little eaglets we're talking about, that you've got to, the little eaglets have to peck themselves out of there. That there's a point where if they don't do that, they won't survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it applies to us too, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And I just wanted to say, turning to nature, if we could only just look at nature and do what nature does in the present moment, being present and realizing that I'm not going to go and kill somebody or kill an animal, because we've created a mess in our society with that. We can't balance that out anymore, but certainly nature can. And I do love watching nature, and I love how it unfolds.
Yeah, I learn from it, I think, every day. I mean, it's medicine for me. And there's war in nature, honey. Like that raven will kill anything it has to for its own survival. And the lion will take down the zebra, and the circle of life, honey.
That's what I always say when I see animals in the wild. But because my heart is so attached to Jackie and Shadow, this is different. Anyway, thank you, Phyllis, for being with us, and I'm glad that this show made your whale tag, your tail wag. That's lovely to hear. And thank you, Martha, once again for being with us. This hour has gone so quickly. Marg, my beautiful co-host, thank you for being with me here today. And please like, share, and subscribe. Yes, subscribe. There's always one I forget. And yeah, we'll see you next week. And we'll look forward to Martha coming back in a few months' time.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
I sure will. Love to you all. Blessings.
Thank you so much.